So this is where we stopped. We got this one and this one. Now from the second case you can divide sin phi with cos phi, then you will get xl minus xc divided by z divided by r by z. Then you can see this z will get cancelled with this z, so what you will get is xl minus xc divided by r. So this sin phi by cos phi, that is tan phi, is equal to xl minus xc divided by r, or phi is equal to tan inverse of xl minus xc by r. So you can calculate phi just like the previous case. You can calculate phi. Now let us do one more thing. You have this equation Vm sin omega t on one side and this term on the other side. If you compare, you can see that this is an angular function which is dimensionless, this is again dimensionless, so that this Vm should have the dimension of omega q0 set. So you can write Vm should be equal to omega q0 set. Here you can see omega q0 set should have the dimension of Vm and they should be equal. Now generally according to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. Then only you will get the dimension of voltage. Current multiplied by resistance will give you the dimension of voltage. So here you are having Z. So it is having the dimension of resistance, which is same as this R. That means this omega q0 should have the dimension of current. So you can say Im is equal to omega q0. So this omega q0 can be written as Im set. Definitely it will have the dimension of resistance. You can check because omega is 2 pi by t. Now q0, now you can see 2 pi is a constant, q by t, charge by time, which is having the dimension of current. So Im omega q0 will have the dimension of current. Now you got Vm. Now from this you can write Im. Im is equal to Vm by Z. That is Vm by, you are having the Z value. What is that? XL minus XC whole square plus R square. This is the Z value. So you will get Im Vm divided by XL minus XC whole square plus R square. This will be the Im value. Then another thing we discussed, in order to match this condition, sin omega t is there, cos phi plus theta plus omega t is there. So I explained this sin omega t should be equal to sin omega t here also, because this term is equal to this term. So sin term should be equal to sin term here, but here you are having cos. So we use the relationship, that is cos of omega t minus pi by 2 is equal to sin omega t. So here you are having cos omega t is also there, but rest of the terms should be equal to minus pi by 2. So you can say rest of the terms are theta and phi. Theta plus pi should be equal to minus pi by 2. Now let us go back and check. So these are the equations we are having now. Now let us write I is equal to dq by dt. Let us just check whether we are getting the same current equation as that of phasor solution. Now d by dt of, what is your charge term? Charge term is q0 sin omega t plus theta. This is your charge term. Now from this one, if you differentiate q0, you can take out d by dt of sine omega t plus theta, which is equal to q0 into cos omega t plus theta multiplied with a constant omega, because there is omega t plus theta parameter, so omega will come out as a constant. You need to multiply that. q0 omega cos omega t plus theta. This is your current equation. But in our phasor solution, you are getting I is equal to Im sin omega t minus phi. So we need to get the same equation here also. For that, let us check whether we are getting wrong answer or not. Let us check. So what I am doing is q0 omega cos omega t plus theta. Here you are having theta plus phi is equal to minus pi by 2, which implies theta is equal to minus pi by 2 minus phi. So I am going to replace theta with this one, minus pi by 2 minus phi. Now what I will get? I is equal to q0 omega cos of omega t and minus phi. I am taking together omega t minus phi, then what is remaining? Minus pi by 2. Now if you take this as a single term, let it be a, then you can say q0 omega cos of a minus pi by 2, cos of a minus pi by 2, that is sin a. Cos of a minus pi by 2 is sin a, isn't it? So you can write in the same way. Here you are having a minus pi by 2, where a is equal to omega t minus phi. So I am writing it as sin a. What is a? Omega t minus phi. Now we already got what is q0 omega. q0 omega is equal to Im, current. So I can replace Im sin omega t minus phi. This is I. Now if you check the same solution, you are getting in phasor solution also. Current is lagging by a phase angle of phi. Here also you can see current is lagging by a phase angle of phi. So you got the equation for current, as well as you got phi is equal to tan inverse XL minus XC by, you can see here, XL minus XC by R. Which is same as the solutions you are getting in phasor method. Now if XL is greater than XC, normally for normal frequencies XL will be greater than XC, then what happens is tan phi will be positive, so your EMF leads current. Now if XL is less than XC, then your phi will be negative, which means current leads EMF. So if XC is more than XL, I am going to explain it here. If XL greater than XC, then tan phi is positive, or voltage leads current by phi. Phi is the phase angle. Now if reverse is the case, if XC, or let us say in terms of XL, let us say if XL less than XC, then tan phi is negative, or current leads voltage by phi. That is the meaning that tan phi is negative. Now there will be one more case. If XL is equal to XC, one case XL is greater than XC, second case XL is less than XC, third case XL is equal to XC. If XL is equal to XC, you can see you are having this equation. Yes, you are having this equation XL minus XC by R. If XL is equal to XC, then it means that numerator becomes 0. So phi becomes 0, or simply you can say tan phi, not phi becomes 0, tan phi becomes 0. So tan phi equal to 0, or phi equal to tan inverse of 0. This is what you are getting, tan phi equal to 0, which means there is no phase difference. Current and voltage are in phase. That is just like the resistor case. You will get more clarity when I discuss the next concept. So when L omega equal to 1 by C omega, that is XL is equal to XC, circuit behaves like a pure resistor alone circuit. Now from this I am going to discuss a topic connected with it, resonance. So I told you, if XL greater than XC, then voltage leads. If XL less than XC, then current leads. Now if XL equal to XC, what happens is voltage and current will be in phase, because tan phi is equal to 0. Now let us calculate the impedance in this case. Generally impedance is equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC whole square. We already discussed. Now R square plus XL and XC are equal, so this term will be 0. You will get root of R square, that is equal to R. As you can see here, total impedance in the circuit is equal to resistor alone. So that is why when XL is equal to XC, current and voltage are in phase, because the circuit behaves like a resistor alone circuit when XL is equal to XC. Now when this condition is satisfied, XL is equal to XC, then the total impedance in the circuit will be equal to the resistance of the connected resistor alone. And you can see only this term is there, next term is 0. So this will be the minimum resistance. If the second term is 0, you will get the minimum resistance. Otherwise this plus some value of this term means it will be greater than this case. So this is the minimum resistance possible in the circuit, and you will get the minimum resistance you will get when XL is equal to XC. When the resistance is minimum, current will be maximum in the circuit. So when XL is equal to XC, there will be maximum current in the circuit. When XL is equal to XC, there will be maximum current in the circuit. So this condition in which circuit is having maximum current is called a resonance condition. Now what happens is, at lower frequencies you are having Xc, XL is equal to 2 pi Fc and Xc is equal to 1 by 2 pi FL. Here it is 2 pi FL and here it is 2 pi Fc. L omega and 1 by C omega. Omega is 2 pi F. Now at low frequencies, what happens? At low frequencies, this F will be small. Here also there is an F, it is in the denominator. So at small values less than 1, if we imagine that 0.05 Hertz, then this quantity will be more. This F is small, but this total 1 by 2 pi Fc will be more, because a small value is coming in the denominator, so that this value will be more compared with this value. Multiplying with a small number, you will get only small XL. So at small frequencies, Xc will be greater than XL. Now when frequency is increased, then what happens? This F will increase. Here also F will increase. If it is some 10 Hertz or 20 Hertz, means it is having some finite value, positive finite value. Then this 2 pi FL will be more than 1 by 2 pi Fc, because F is now 10. It is not a very small value less than 1. It is now 10 or 20 Hertz. Means your XL will be more compared with the XC. So XL will dominate. When frequency is increased, then XL will increase and Xc will decrease. So there will be a condition XL greater than XC. So you can see, if you increase frequency, XL will be more and Xc will decrease. Finally XL will be more than Xc. Here you start from Xc greater than XL. Now you reached XL greater than Xc. That means there will be a case where Xc is equal to XL, because initially you are having Xc greater than XL and now you are having XL greater than Xc. You can see they are interchanging. Initially Xc is more, now XL is more. That means in between these two there will be a condition. After reaching this only it can move here, isn't it? First Xc will be equal to XL, then XL will exceed and XL will be more than Xc. So this condition, you will get maximum current, as I discussed here, because the impedance of the circuit becomes resistor alone and you will get maximum current in the circuit. Since XL minus Xc whole square is 0, you will get minimum resistance and hence maximum current, and that is achievable when Xc is equal to XL. So how you are getting it? Simply by changing frequency. If you increase the frequency, this Xc, whatever be the value, it will get decreased or it will get reduced by some factors, and the XL will be getting increased, and finally they both becomes equal, and after that XL will exceed compared with the Xc, and then onwards if you increase frequency again and again, XL will be more compared with the Xc. So this point in which Xc is equal to XL, you will get maximum current in the circuit. All the other times current will be less compared with this point, and you are achieving this one only with the help of tuning the frequency. By increasing frequency, you can change Xc and XL since they are dependent on frequency, and you can make this condition by simply changing the frequency of the circuit. You can make this condition Xc is equal to XL, then you will get maximum current in the circuit. So let us find an equation for that frequency in which you will get maximum current. This condition in which you will get maximum current is called a resonance. It is electrical resonance. So better let us say electrical resonance. At electrical resonance condition, your circuit will give you maximum current, and the frequency corresponding to that condition is called a resonant frequency. So you are simply tuning the frequency, you are changing the frequency. If you increase the frequency, then Xc will decrease and XL will increase as per the equation, and there will be a point where Xc is equal to XL. After that, your XL will dominate over Xc. So this XL is equal to Xc condition is called a resonance condition. At a resonance, you will get maximum current in the circuit. Now we are going to derive an equation for this resonant frequency. For that, write the condition. At a resonance, XL is equal to Xc. What is XL? L omega. What is Xc? Xc is equal to 1 by C omega. Now let us take omega on one side, then omega square is equal to 1 by LC. Now let us say, since it is resonance, to differentiate from other frequencies, let us use omega 0. Omega 0 is the resonant frequency. When omega becomes omega 0, we will say that circuit is at a resonance. Then XL will be equal to XC. When omega is equal to omega 0, XL is equal to XC. So we are replacing omega with omega 0. Now omega 0 square is equal to 1 by LC, or omega is equal to 1 by root LC. This is the angular frequency or angular resonant frequency. Now let us find the normal frequency. For that, you know omega is equal to, there is a relationship, omega is equal to 2 pi by T, or it is equal to 2 pi F, or F is equal to omega by 2 pi. Since it is resonant frequency, let us use Fr. So you can write Fr is equal to, this is omega 0, you can write it as omega 0 by 2 pi, that is equal to, what is omega 0? 1 by root LC. By 2 pi means it will come here. So your resonant frequency is 1 by 2 pi root LC. When the frequency of your LCR circuit is equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC, then your circuit is said to be in electrical resonance, in which its total impedance will be equal to capital R. There won't be any XL minus XC whole square term. Since XL is equal to XC, they will get cancelled, and it will be simply impedance Z is equal to R at a resonance. And this condition is achieved when frequency of the LCR circuit is equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC. This frequency corresponds to the resonant condition in an LCR circuit is called a resonant frequency, 1 by 2 pi root LC. So by changing L value and C value, you can change this frequency, resonant frequency also. Now if you plot a graph between frequency and current by taking frequency on x-axis and current on y-axis, you can see normal frequencies current is not that much, but when you increase frequency, then what happens is, if you increase frequency, XL increases and XC decreases. So that if you increase frequency, you can see that XL is increasing and XC is decreasing. Ultimately, when XL is equal to XC, you will get maximum current. So let us say this is the point where you are getting XL is equal to XC. Corresponding to that XL is equal to XC, there will be a frequency. This is our frequency axis. So the frequency corresponding to XL is equal to XC is FR, resonant frequency. At a resonant frequency, you should get maximum current. So your current, let us say this is the current value. Corresponding to that, this is your current value. All the other times current will be less. So here you should get maximum. Then after passing that point, again current will decrease. and reaching here current is increasing like this, then it will decrease. Here you should get maximum. So if you draw the graph, it will be like this. Is a curve actually, and this point corresponds to the resonant frequency FR. Now you can see current is maximum at a resonant frequency. All the other time it is less. Here it is increasing and reaching maximum, then after the frequency it is again decreasing. So current is reaching its maximum value when your circuit frequency is equal to resonant frequency. Now next class I will discuss, based on this I will discuss the sharpness condition and other things. So please go through this and make the concepts clear.